A few days ago, lightweight UFC fighter Paddy the Baddy Pimblett challenged another professional fighter called Dennis Frimpong to a not-so-friendly spar after Dennis was caught running his mouth about Paddy online, and Paddy battered them both on the feet and choked them out on the ground. Now, there was initially some controversy surrounding this situation because after Paddy pieced them up on the feet, he jumped on Dennis's back, grabbed a hold of his neck, and when Dennis tapped, Paddy didn't let go of the choke. Now, immediately after this fight, Paddy stated on social media that they agreed to no tapping whatsoever, and since this happened, Paddy has stayed pretty quiet about the situation until now. And he also gives us some extra juicy details about the situation which we weren't aware of initially, so make sure you watch the full video. Right, let's get into it.
Speaking of Paddy, did we see the gym war, the gym beef? Paddy went to a rival gym. Dude, I love that. Somebody's got beef with you and you just stroll in and take him on with no benefit other than just squashing this beef and being the tougher guy. I dig it, man.
We're gonna have to touch on it, aren't we? That video that everyone's talking about. Seen a lot of people giving me shit for keeping hold of the show. I'm gonna give you the full story now, and then I'm never gonna speak about it ever again. Like, I didn't even want to put this on the vlog. All people from their gym were videoing it and put it all over TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. You know, the whole world knows about it now, so I'm gonna have to talk about it.
That's how you know Paddy is a real one. He's not actually arsed about publicising this spar, and he's only just coming out about it now because the footage has already been leaked. I guarantee Paddy would have been completely happy with this being squashed behind closed doors, because really, what's he got to prove against this Dennis Frimpong? However, it is a good thing because it does just make Paddy a lot more likeable. I honestly think it's a net positive for his brand.
He was bullying two of the lads who come to my gym, Jake and George, who were like my little brothers, train with them every day. I had something against them just for that anyway, as you all know, I don't like bullies. Then when he fought George in the final of the comp, he was saying mad stuff to George, saying your grandma's gonna go to hell, well, in hell, because his grandma's dead.
I just described his grandmother as a transvestite.
So you're insulting your granddad / grandma?
I'm going to see your mum tomorrow.
Well,
I'm a big fan of trash talk and drama within the fight game. It helps market the fight and build the fight up. It gets more eyes on you. But mocking someone's dead relative is just the lowest of the low. No longer can you use the excuse of, oh, I'm just trying to build the fight up, mate. And you can't even justify it by saying there's a lot of eyeballs on you anyway. If this was like a massive pay-per-view event in the UFC, then you can kind of go, all right, okay, I get what he's trying to do. I disagree with it, but it's got a lot of talk and eyeballs on this fight now. No one even knows who this Dennis Frimpong is. So saying something like that, it's just a classless move. It shows your true character.
All that stuff rubbed me up the wrong way. And then George beat him up for 4 rounds and subbed him in the 4th. That's always been there in the back of my mind, annoying me, that Dennis was saying all stuff like that.
A nice healthy dose of karma. At least he lost the fight. Fantastic. You can see George standing over him, shouting at him. Well in, lad.
They joined Manchester top team. A year went by or something like that. We had a fight just before Christmas. Literally he fought someone that he just pulled off the street. The kid was about 6 stone soaking wet. Dennis won by TKO. Started celebrating like he just beat Islam Makhachev.
You can see that kid had no business being in there just by his body language. Even when good fighters are getting beaten, the body language really looks like that. So Dennis, he's talking a big game to Paddy and Paddy's teammates, which you'll see in a moment. But then he's fighting these little skinny kids with barely any experience and who don't belong in there. Now this is where Dennis starts running his mouth even more.
My S&T coach, Paul Reed, who's like my uncle, know what I mean? He comments on it saying this is embarrassing. And Dennis put back to him, you stick to S&T, old man, leave the fight is the fight. That was it, know what I mean? I went at him, I couldn't help it. We kept going back and forth. I ended up saying, come on, let's get a spar on, let's do it. At first I was saying a neutral gym, and he was saying no, so I just said, sound, I'll come to your gym. I offered to go down there on New Year's Eve. I said to him as well, lad, I'm going on holiday for 2 weeks, so let's do it before I go on holiday. And he said no. First day I'm on holiday, I flew on the 1st of Jan. On the 2nd of Jan, he puts a video up talking shit. While I'm sitting by the pool, I just look at my phone and go, oh my God, you knew I was going on holiday for 2 weeks and then you put this video up for some followers.
And if you didn't see that video, here's a small, brief little recap so you can get the general gist.
Yeah, Paddy the sausage Pimblett. If you want a straightener, you called for it. You have to come down to Manchester to have a straightener with me. Because at the end of the day, if you want a straightener, I'm not travelling to come have a straightener with you. And just make sure that after I knock you out, you don't call the cops. Because we all know what you're like. You're a little snitch.
And obviously I was saying, don't worry lad, I'm going to come down. Said, I get home on Thursday the 16th, get home that morning, I'll come to your gym the Saturday morning the 18th. I see him, Dennis, commenting back to a lot of people saying, Paddy won't come, he hasn't got the balls, this and that. When I got home Friday morning, he messaged them saying, what's happening, what time tomorrow? He messaged Ellis back saying, it's not happening, got a fight coming up, I can't risk getting injured, blah blah. I spoke to one of his teammates who said, Pad, we're not happy that he's not doing it, we're going to speak to him. And then 3 minutes after I got that message back off a fighter from Manny Top Team, Dennis messaged me back saying, get down tomorrow 12. And we both agreed, we don't stop until someone's unconscious. Taps don't count, quitting to strikes doesn't count. We just go until someone's out cold.
There you go, straight away, heard it from the horse's mouth. Paddy said, we're going to go until someone is unconscious, whether it's KO or getting choked out. I think this Dennis Frimpong didn't expect Paddy to step up. I think he probably thought, I'll try and make some noise, I'll attack Paddy, and he's not going to respond, and in the meantime, I get a little bit of clout myself. It's kind of like when underground, lesser-known rappers will do diss tracks to bigger, mainstream rappers. You know that the mainstream, big-time rapper isn't going to respond, so it's not really going to hurt their brand in any sort of manner, but they can get a little bit extra clout by tying their name to the big rapper.
Got up, drove to Manchester Top Team. We was in and out within 15 minutes. Walked in the middle, said, let's do this. To be honest, I think he'd give me the choke. He stuck his neck out to give me the choke because he didn't want to get flattened out and ground and pounded until he was unconscious. But took the choke, and as we all know, if you get choked unconscious, you just wake back up. A lot of people saying, I've got no honour, I've got no this, I've got no that. I've seen Dennis say in an interview since, if I would have knocked him unconscious, I would have jumped on him and landed a few more strikes. All's fair in love and war.
So it seems like this Dennis guy was afraid of getting ground and pounded. Pause. What did you expect? You're calling out Paddy the baddie, and then you're agreeing to the first one who gets choked out or KO'd, but then you're expecting some sort of friendly spar. But then it got to the point where there was that much pressure on him, he had to say yes and had to agree to the fight. Now this is where Paddy gives us a bit more of an insight into what happened after he choked Dennis out, and it's quite embarrassing, to be honest.
I stood back up and went to the corner and just said, come Ed, let's go again from the feet. You said you wanted to strike, let's go again from the feet. And Dennis come over and said, no, I'm done, I don't want to go again. And then we shook hands like men.
So Paddy actually offered him a round two. We heard in the initial video when Paddy took Dennis down, everyone was booing, but Dennis was getting pieced up on the feet. Paddy did Dennis a favour by taking him down. Paddy just wanted to show him, look lad, I will beat you anywhere, whether it's standing, whether it's wrestling, grappling, whatever. But Dennis knew he was defeated. He got well and truly humbled. Now this next part, I absolutely love what Paddy says here.
Kids nowadays are too fast to grab knives and grab weapons and stab each other and ruin their own life, the other person's life, and both of your families and friends. This is a good message for weapons down, gloves up. Don't use your weapons. If you've got a problem with each other, put a pair of boxing gloves on, put a pair of MMA gloves on, and have a fight. And at the end of it, you can shake each other's hands, just like me and Dennis did. If someone wants to talk about me, talk about me teammates, talk about me coaches, I'll settle it like men. It's as simple as that. We all know the truth. Me and Dennis have shook hands. It's done.
Yes, Paddy, I absolutely love that. Knives down, gloves up. What a message to put out there to the youth. The problem is with a lot of these rats who walk around with knives is they have no confidence in the fighting ability, their ability to defend themselves. They're only really hard when they're in groups with the mates. If you've really got beef with someone, don't even have a street fight. Actually get the gloves on and settle it like men, because then that way you can figure out who's the real man, who's the hardest, and no one actually really gets hit. And even if you got humbled and battered, now because you've took a hit to your ego, you're probably going to go and start some martial arts classes and get yourself on a good path. I'm 36, so I'm not young, I'm not old, I'm right in the middle, so I feel like I'm right in between both worlds of being old school and the modern day culture. I hate to say it, but back in my day, you'd just have a straightener, you'd sort it out like men, and then it'd all be over then. Whether you win or lose, it's very rare that then you would have another fight with that person, or come back with a knife, or come back with your brother and your family, and you're always just trying to get one up on each other. I had this lad in high school and he picked on me a little bit. Back then I didn't really have a lot of confidence. I was small, I was skinny, I was doing martial arts, but I was always worried about getting in trouble with the teachers because I was a good kid, and I wish my dad would have just said to me, Shaun, fucking batter him, crack him in the grid, because I know I would have battered him anyway. But about 6-12 months after we left school, he ended up coming to one of my kickboxing classes. I fucking hated him, but I thought to myself, this is my opportunity now to can crack you in a controlled environment. So we did the whole kickboxing session, and then we were sparring at the end. So I did a few warm-up rounds, then me and the bully ended up partnered up, and I could just tell he still thought he was hard, or maybe he's done some boxing classes. He was doing all that over-exaggerated breathing when he was throwing punches. But he was missing all his shots, and I remember doing a few low kicks on him just to get him thinking down there, and then I feinted low and went high and cracked him in the face. And you should have seen the look on his face. He was in proper shock. He was like, oh, and then I did it again, and then absolutely pieced him up. And then at the end, we touched gloves. He never came back to kickboxing, and I never saw him again ever in my life. And that right there is a core memory that I have that maybe comes back to me every few months, and I think to myself, that was satisfying. So guys, listen to what Paddy says. Put the knives down, get the gloves up. Nothing bad ever really comes from developing yourself physically, whether it's in martial arts or within fitness. And that's my message here on the channel. So big shout out to Paddy here. Paddy, if you just so happen to see this video, it'd be great to maybe do a collaboration for the channel this year sometime. There's not really many Scouse content creators, especially within the fighting world. So it could be fun. Okay guys, comment all your thoughts down below. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.